Welcome to the Vault XL. Thank you for joining me. This commentary today is pertaining to Tamia Taylor's mother and brother. They have spoken with the news, and the mother feels that there should be accountability by many people pertaining to the death of her daughter. And I'm going to play that audio for you. But before I go into the audio and my commentary pertaining to that said information, I'm going to bring you some news updates of breaking news. And I'm also going to read the findings of the polls on my community page. While you are listening to the updates, feel free to go over to my community page and take the polls because I'd like to hear get your feedback, get the percentages of the questions that I'm asking, and also feel free to comment below the poll pertaining to the question. My first update is pertaining to the Cal City boys and Jacqueline and Trezell West. Thank you for joining me. Also, if you'd like to donate to this great network, $Big Angie129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. This was updated at 3:41 p.m. today. The Kern County District Attorney's Office will hold a press conference Thursday if the sentencing of Trezell and Jacqueline West moves forward as scheduled and the gag order is lifted. The Wests are scheduled for sentencing at 8:30 a.m. after being convicted in the death of one of their adoptive children and the abuse of another. Sentencing has been postponed twice before. Attorneys and others connected to the case have been barred from speaking after a gag order was issued following the West arrest in March of last year. After a weeks-long trial in May, jurors found Trezell West, 37, Jacqueline West, 33, guilty of second-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, and child cruelty regarding the death of Orrin, 4, but failed to reach verdicts on second-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder in connection with 3-year-old Orson's death. A guilty verdict for child cruelty was returned regarding Orson. The boys were reported missing by the West in December 2020. The prosecutors say the children were killed 3 months earlier. Their bodies have not been found. KGET.com is the source. So prayers that tomorrow proceedings will go forward because it's atrocious what has happened to those children. Just the thought of what happened to them. I don't want to think about what happened to them. I do not believe that they are alive, and I do find it very disrespectful that the jury could not come to a sound decision on the death of Orson, because common sense would tell you these two people reported them missing. They were found guilty of false reporting. Both of the children have never been seen again. So if you can find guilty on one child, why could you not find a guilty verdict on the other one? Makes no sense to me. But we will wait to see what happens tomorrow. Naturally, most of us do not live in California, so we're on a different time zone. California is 3 hours behind me. I will wait to see what transpires tomorrow morning, which will be 11:30 my time. Thank you for joining me. Now to some other breaking news. All information is posted to my community board, except for this information pertaining to Jacqueline and Trezell West. Hello, everybody in the chat. Welcome, new visitors and subs. Brooks Houck arrested in Crystal Rogers case. This is uploaded 6 hours ago. WHAS 11 News is the source. As many of you know who followed this case years ago, Crystal Rogers went missing back in 2015. She was never seen again by her family. She had several children, and her last child was by this Mr. Brooks Houck. And there was a lot of scandal and deaths pertaining to her death that happened after her death. I believe there was a very shady police department. His brother as well has some knowledge of this woman's disappearance, murder. I believe she was murdered. His family Her father was brutally murdered. Crystal Rogers' father was brutally murdered. No one has been brought to justice in his murder, and this is a long time coming. I brought you information a few weeks ago that another gentleman, a male rather, was arrested in connections to her disappearance murder, and now, finally, 8 years later, the husband, or the guy that was dating her, rather, I don't think it's his husband, he has been arrested. Brooks Hawk, murder and evidence tampering, 10 million cash bond, and the last person to see Crystal alive. Amen. The government be shutting down in the state of Georgia. How will this affect Georgians, especially those who are receiving food assistance from the government? Just an update for those of you who are curious and live in the state of Georgia. And now we get information pertaining to Suzanne Morphew. Her body has been found in Colorado. She went missing on Mother's Day 3 years ago. Her husband was once charged with her murder, but those charges were dropped. At the time, prosecutors said they would wait until they found Suzanne's remains. So just imagine the state attorney dropping the charges because possibly they did not have enough against him. And also imagine had they not found her remains, he would still be walking free. It's very disturbing news. But once again, Susan Morphew's body has been found in Colorado. Court TV is the source. Thank you so much for joining me. Just bringing you the latest updates pertaining to information here in the United States. And the judge has also ruled that Donald Trump has engaged in repeated fraud. Good Morning America is that source. And 6 days ago, Mr. Govan has had reprimand pertaining to the death of young Dolph. He's been wanting to move about, and the judge has basically let him know that you have been afforded the opportunity to walk free on bond, bail, and you need to adhere to the rules. But thus far, trial has not been set, which I don't know why. U.S. soldier Travis King is now in American custody. Fox 11 Los Angeles is the source of that said information. Just bringing you updates pertaining to breaking news. Jacqueline Giselle West sentencing is supposed to commence tomorrow morning. We will see what happens. If not, there'll be a press conference by the state's office. Mr. Hawk arrested in connection to the disappearance of Crystal Rogers. And this young man who went over into another foreign country, Travis King. It's a very weird story. U.S. soldier. He is now in American custody. And a judge has found Mr. Donald Trump guilty of engaging in repeated fraud. Let's go to my polls. Will Memphis riverboats upgrade security measures, proper higher gates on their boats now? One vote, 100%, yes. Will Memphis riverboats get cameras on boats and dock area plus efficient lighting due to Tamia Taylor's death? One vote, 100%, yes. Does Memphis riverboats regret saying that Tamia Taylor did not go overboard on river cruise? 3 votes. 67% of you said yes. 33% of you are not sure. Should Memphis riverboats donate monies to Tamia Taylor's funeral costs? 4 votes. Say 100% yes. Was Tamia Taylor murdered from the boat or on land? From the boat, 48%. Land, 52%. 29 votes. Someone asked me, we need to find out if she could swim. The time of day doesn't matter as long as the water was warm, and she could swim. She would not got out of that water. I have swam in river, lakes, and oceans. First thing they teach us is how to float. So if you get tired of swimming, you can lay on your back, float without using any energy. I just think something bad happened to her. She couldn't swim. It is what it is. Let me say this to you for the last time. I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't think I should have to keep explaining this situation to you. You're speaking for yourself. You're speaking for yourself and not a person under the influence of alcohol. Many people have drowned in waters, lakes, ponds, quarries, the ocean. She was inebriated. And I'm not about to sit here and go back and forth about a drunk person should float. And to me, the comment is disrespectful. It's dark. We do not know the circumstances for how she got in the water, for one. So I'm not here to go back and forth about a person swimming, floating, or any of that. I have not even come to a conclusion myself to how she got in the water. Hello, Chris Thorns. Welcome. Thank you, sweetheart, for joining me. I'm not about to sit here and go back and forth with you about your commentary. And I don't like your commentary. Because many people are going to assume she died either from the boat or on land. And that depends on your interpretation of who's telling the truth of her either exiting the boat or not exiting the boat. The coroner has ruled cause of death drowning, but manner of death undetermined. So we don't even know how she got in the water. And I can see a person panicking, falling in the water if they didn't expect to fall in the water. I don't know if she was on land, met foul play, and was put in the water deliberately. Maybe her head held under the water off land. I don't know because I wasn't there. But the commentary is ignorant to me. And I don't want to discuss it anymore. This is where I start to get pissed off. Wow. People just don't get it. Oh, man. Trick question. Could golf cart guy and coworkers both be lying about their versions to the news? 81% of you said yes. 3% of you said no. 16% of you said not sure. Did Memphis Police Department ask sheriff to do a wellness check on Tamia Taylor's home because they thought she was faking a disappearance? 27% says yes. 42% says no. 31% says not sure. Did Memphis Police Department have sheriff do a wellness check of Tamia Taylor's home because they heard rumors she was alive? 24% of you said yes. 48% of you said no. Not sure, 29%. Very interesting. Was altercation on Friday the catalyst for co-workers to kill Tamia Taylor? 71% of you said yes. 29% of you are not sure. Did co-workers set up crews to kill Tamia Taylor? 67% says yes. 7% says no. 26% says not sure. Was Tamia Taylor drugged by co-workers or stranger on the boat? Co-workers, 62%. Stranger, 7%. Neither, 3%. Not sure, 28%. Memphis riverboats have stopped overnight cruises after Tamia Taylor's body was ID'd in the Mississippi River. Do you think the company feels guilty and or afraid of a lawsuit by her mom? Yes for both, 93%. No for both, 7%. So most of you believe that they do feel guilty and are afraid of a lawsuit. Did Tamia Taylor overdose on the boat, off the boat somewhere else, then pushed over or discarded by co-workers or other parties? That's a bit complicated there. Overdose on boat, but pushed off by coworkers, 67%. Overdose on land, discarded in Arkansas by coworkers, 7%. Overdose on boat, pushed by stranger, 13%. Overdose on land, discarded by another stranger, 13%. So 67% of you believe perhaps she overdosed on the boat and pushed off by coworkers. And note that these are hypothetical situations. We do not know what actually happened to Miss Taylor on that fateful evening. Do you think Tamia Taylor had narcotics in her system? Yes, 81% of you. 13% of you said no. 6% of you said not sure. Was Tamia Taylor drugged by coworkers or other party on the boat? I think I asked that question earlier. Yes, 50%. No, 7%. 43% of you are not sure. Did coworkers plant Tamia Taylor's phone behind to make it appear she never left the boat? Foul play happened to her on the boat. 79% of you said yes. 7% of you said no. 14% of you said not sure. Arkansas Lab says there was no foul play in the death of Tamia Taylor. If this is not true, do you think her killer thinks he, she, they are home free? 100% of you said yes. And know that once again, cause of death is drowning, but manner of death has not been determined by the medical examiner. Now that Tamia Taylor's body has been ID'd, do you think one of the coworkers or patrons on the boat will tell the truth or come forward with what they saw and heard? 24% of you said yes. Very low vote. 59% of you said no, and 18% of you said not sure. Is there more to this story of Tamia Taylor's death? 100% of you said yes. Should Tamia Taylor's mother sue Memphis Riverboats for negligence in the death of her daughter? 79% of you said yes. 21% of you said no. Do you believe coroner's report of no foul play on Tamia Taylor? 0% of you said yes. 85% of you said no. 15% of you said not sure. Did boat company pay golf cart driver to lie about seeing Tamia Taylor exit the boat? 33% says yes. 50% says no. 17% says not sure. Is the golf cart guy involved in the death of Tamia Taylor? 0, yes. 36% of you said no, but 64% of you are not sure. Chris Thorns, they're saying no foul play. She died by drowning, but the manner of death, that would be how she actually died. If indeed she died before hitting water, that has not been determined. So obviously they found water in her lungs to say she drowned. But how did she get to the water? That's what's undetermined. And I don't know if they couldn't tell if she was hit, beat. You know what I'm saying? Strangled. Because that would be considered manner of death. To me, I'm not an expert, but okay, we'll wrap up these polls because I had a lot of questions. I'm trying to ask everything hypothetical pertaining to this terrible, terrible death of this young lady because this is so terrible to me. Once again, 64% of you are not sure that Mr. What's his name? Jamon is behind the death of this young lady or involved. Do you think Tamia Taylor committed suicide on a boat cruise or once docked? Because this question was posed to her mother today by the news. And the mother does not believe that her daughter would hurt herself, despite whatever it was she was going through. She doesn't think that her daughter would take her own life. 0% of you said yes. 93% of you said no. 7% of you are not sure. So 93% of you don't believe she took her own life. Tamia Taylor's coworkers know what happened to her. 79% yes, 7% no, 14% of you're not sure. Okay. Rumors are circulating that Tamia Taylor was put into a car with men by coworkers after the boat docked. Do you believe this? 29% of you said yes, 29% of you said no, 43% of you are not sure. Is the coroner lying about Tamia Taylor's, I said manner of death to flush out suspects? We'll just say the findings. 54% of you said yes, 0% of you said no, 46% of you are not sure. Was Tamia Taylor's, was she placed at President's Island recently? Been there all alone, but placed? Floated up from Booze Cruise weeks ago, or been there all alone, but floated? I know that sounds like a very complex question, but there's a difference between she fell off the boat, floated up 2 weeks later, pushed off the boat, jumped off the boat, floated up 2 weeks later, or taken somewhere hurt and then dumped at President's Island, if that makes any sense to anybody in the audience. So these are your results. 38% of you believe she was placed there recently. 15% of you believe she floated up from the cruise weeks ago. 23% of you believe she's been there all alone for weeks, but placed there, if that makes any sense. She's been there, but nobody had found her from weeks ago. The last option is been there all alone, but floated from weeks ago. 23%. So the majority of you believe that Tamia Taylor was placed there. 38%. Very interesting. Who do you believe? The golf cart driver or the co-workers? I put this up yesterday. 100% of you believe the golf cart driver's assertion of seeing Tamia Taylor on dry land after the boat docked. That's only 8 votes. Please scroll down and take that poll, because that's what's going to matter in this case. Because naturally, the mother will not say what she thinks happened to her child. She will not repeat it on air or to the public. But when you use deduction, you have to ask that question: how did she get to the water? Did she die from nefarious means from the boat during the trip? Or she did make it off the boat and met with foul play and then dumped on the Arkansas side of the Mississippi River? Oh, I didn't know I had so many questions. Sorry about that. But I have to ask these questions because a woman was found in the water and there's no explanation and there are no witnesses to say how. And it's just very, very strange. Okay. And once again, 79% of you do believe the coworkers know what happened to her. And 100% of you believe the golf cart driver's version. Is the Memphis riverboats liable for Tamia Taylor's death? 70% says yes, 30% says no. All right. Those are the last bit of my questions. There are a lot to take, so feel free to go over to the community board and just keep strolling up past all the news, breaking news, and take the polls, because I want to hear your opinion pertaining to what happened to her. Hello, everybody in the chat. Hello, Ashley87, Mr. Chris Storms, Happy Hippie. Thank you all so much for joining me. Let's get down to business, everybody. The mother has spoken to the public, to the news. She's a very humble lady. You will hear her speak. She's very mild-mannered in her demeanor and her speech pertaining to the death of her child. Her young son will speak. Cute little boy, just cute as a button. 12 years old, Caden. Prayers to him as well, because he has now lost his sister. And I must say that when I listened to him speak today, I started to cry because it's different to hear a child speak about death. He misses his sister. And you will hear him tell the news reporters that he misses his sister. Lord have mercy. This is so terrible. This is a cruel world we're in. WREG News 3 is the source of this commentary. Thank you for joining. Prayers to the mother, the brother, and all the family members, her true friends and family and neighbors who are actually concerned about what happened to her. Prayers for Memphis, because Memphis has a lot of crime. It is number 5 in the United States of crime and number 2 for cities in Tennessee for high crime. Thank you for joining me.
All their hard work, their dedication that they put into this case for 16 days. We're going to thank everybody that was on the team. We're going to thank the world for all the love and the support that they have shown us. We truly appreciate it. For everyone that wants to be negative, now is not that time. They are human. They have to go home to get rest so that they are able to come every day that God allowed them to see this day to do their job. And that's what they did for 16 days. I prayed along with other people that prayed with us. And he gave me what I asked for, and that was comfort. It is a process. In everything that we do, let's be respectful, let's be humble, and let's not forget. Because we are not God, we do not have to know and see everything. God is still in control
Amen.
of this whole situation. If for whatever reason you feel however you feel, I can't change that. But what I can say, if you have so much to say now, why didn't you say nothing 16 days ago? Where were your cameras? Where were your phones? Where was all of this at 16 days ago?
Amen.
Once again, let's be respectful to the Memphis Police Department as well as all other minorities that played a major part in this group, in this effort to bring Tamia home. Tamia is gone. Um, God allowed me to have her for 21 years. And yeah, you took her, but you can't take her out of my heart. And when someone takes something from you, they can take it, but they can't take what you know. It's just like you knowing. When you know what you know, can't nobody take it away from you. I'm not seeking revenge. I don't want anything. It's all about what God wants. Because I'm not God and because we're not God, we don't have to see and know everything. But just know this too shall pass and God be with you.
Tell us about your daughter Tamia, for those who didn't know her personally.
Tamia was a very loving and caring person. She saw the good in everybody. I've said that before. She just liked to go out and hang out and have a good time and spend time with her two beautiful kids, JC Young and Journey, who have now been left without a mother, and her brother, Caden. And she was just a beautiful person.
The mama? What are you talking about, hippie?
I told her that I love her. I told her to.
Let me interrupt right here. Hippie, what are you talking about? Who said anything about her mother being involved? Her mother wasn't even there. Oh, my Lord. I give up.
enjoy her day because God gives all of us one day out of the year to enjoy. And that's what she was doing. And now she's gone.
What keeps you going? Your brother having this tragedy happen? Um, especially that seems
The questions are kind of low. You can't hardly hear them.
God. Had not my grandmother taught me God a long time ago, I would have lost it 16 days ago. But God, even in the midst of the storm, God can give you peace. And you will only understand that if you know God. And if you don't know God, I say to you today, it's good to know.
Amen. Sure is.
Put a dry towel in the dryer.
Oh, sorry about that. It's a brief commercial. I think they're about to ask her about the daughter self-harming herself.
I was in my living room on the phone.
Oh, they're asking about when she got the news.
Several officers came, and I pretty much knew.
Where? Facebook?
I welcomed them in.
That's why you can't go to
I knew
Facebook.
what they were going to say. And yes, I did pass out.
Oh, wow.
But even when they passed out and they lifted me up, God said, get up, wipe your face, tend to your kids, because I'm already on the case. He's already working it out.
Ooh, Lord, amen.
Don't worry about behind you. Look to the hills from where all your strength cometh from, because this too, I will give you the strength to go through it. This is my 12-year-old son, which is Tamia's brother, whom she loved and he loved her dearly.
A lot of noise in the background. I don't know why they didn't interview her in a quiet place.
Once again, you have to know and believe in God. I wasn't there, so I don't know. But because I know Tamia, if I prayed for this for 16 days, and he kept me for 16 days, and he gave me that confirmation to be able to get closure. It's a process. You got a beginning, now we in the middle, and then you're gonna be at the end. But you gotta get through the middle to get through the end. So when you get there, you'll get to the end. Because because I'm not God, it's okay. It's okay.
shortly after had some concerns and some feelings that should go on.
It's just a mother instinct. That's all. It's just a mother instinct. But you have to respect their wishes to say that once again it was her birthday, so I wanted her to enjoy her birthday. That's nothing that they have to deal with. Their kids, I'm going to allow them to be kids. I've always upheld her, and I'll continue upholding her. That's my battle. That's my battle. So I will fight that battle. They're going to be allowed to enjoy their lives as a baby.
Wow.
It's about
Woo.
try to use,
Hello, Carol.
It's still an ongoing investigation. So we'll just wait and see. But
They're talking about foul play,
that it is.
being ruled by the corner. Talking about the riverboat company now.
You maybe can wish for or say, let's get cameras, but the people want to hold the boat accountable. What about holding the people accountable?
Amen.
Everybody on the boat
Well
has a
said.
phone, and everybody on the boat saw this and saw that. Why didn't nobody speak up? So you want to hold everybody at blame, but why not hold yourself at blame? We are the ones that hurt each other. We want to throw everybody else under the bus, but we don't want to take accountability for what it is that we do.
mentioned no one spoke up. Walk me through that and what you think about that. This investigation,
Hey, Marge.
may have seen something, heard something, as far as we know, it's said.
Everybody wants to bash the media, and everybody wants to downplay Memphis Police Department or whatever other advocates. You can't do that. That's wrong because everybody had a phone. Somebody
Amen.
saw something.
Say it, baby.
So if you want to bash them, what about what you saw and you didn't say?
Say that.
So I mean, it's just
Well said.
The American people are upset, and I appreciate all the love and the condolences, but we as
Let me interject. Her point is spot on. Why are some of you blaming Memphis Police Department, the cruise ship? I still hold them accountable. Yes, I do, because I don't know what their protocols are on the boat as far as security. Did they even have a security guard or more security guards? Did they have anybody walking the boat? You have to ask those questions because it is a boat. You're talking about a boat on massive amount of water. No cameras. They are responsible, and to me, they're liable. And that's a whole nother subject. But mainly, there were other people on the boat with cameras, phone cameras. And like she said, everybody wants to talk about the police and the boat company. You all were on the boat. If you saw something, why didn't you say anything? She's right. And if you're talking about the situation now, what you saw, which I haven't heard anything, because like I said, I don't stay on social media all day, and I definitely don't go on Facebook trying to see what people are saying. I don't have that kind of time. You'll be wrong to say anything. But this is what's wrong with the world. People see stuff all the time. Because you hear people say, didn't nobody see that? Didn't nobody see that? Why didn't nobody say nothing? This happens every day in the world when it ain't got nothing to do with a boat on water. People see people get beat up, hurt, shot every day. People see people breaking in people's houses. People see people bringing stuff out of people's houses. They won't utter a word. What they do is they whisper and hope don't nobody go back and put their name on nothing. That's why I said the boat itself, how many people were on the boat? Was it standing room only? Where were these people on the boat for the duration of the cruise? All that matters. Because were they hanging near the railings? Hey, let's just stand near the water. We're on the ground level. Let's be on the ground level near the railings. The girl got in the water some type of way. You're entitled to your opinion on how you think she got in there. But what's troublesome is what this lady is saying. Too many people on that boat not to have seen or heard something. Number one, not speaking up 2 weeks ago. Number two, and the difference between the golf cart's version, the golf cart driver's version, versus these so-called friends. Because somebody is lying. She can't be on the boat and not on the boat. Which is it? She was on the boat and fell off during the cruise, or she got off the boat after it docked and met with foul play by these people or somebody else, and then was dumped on the Arkansas side of the Mississippi River. She fell in that water, jumped in the water, or was pushed in the water, either on the boat or on dry land. You take your damn pick. So no manner of death has been issued, just that she drowned. That is what the coroner is saying, which means water was in her lungs, but that does not specify how the water got in her lungs, how her whole body got to the water. That is what is undetermined on the autopsy report. How Tamia Taylor got to the water, either by the cruise boat or from dry land, with assistance, let me say.
African Americans, we do this to ourselves because whoever done this was another African American.
Shut your mouth.
So you want to be mad at the police. You want to be mad at this person, that person. Why not be mad at each other?
Exactly.
You're the one harming.
Exactly. Say that, huh?
Are you a mom? If yes.
Sorry about that. So she believes that African American is responsible for the death of her child. She feels like the people on the boat are just as responsible as the people who own the boat company. Because in the end, that is true. Regular civilians were on that boat and possibly saw something. I do not know what is going on in the rumor mill in Memphis and abroad or wherever. But she feels like nobody needs to be blaming the media, the police department, because they're not the people that were on the boat. Blame the people who were on the boat, including the people who went with her and met with her on the boat. And that's including the three people, the two females and the one male. What do they know about her coming off that boat? And this woman does not believe her child harmed herself.
I don't really think that she done this to herself. She loved life too much. She loved life too much. No matter how difficult it may have been or what challenges she may have had, she loved life too
much. Although authorities said they don't believe in foul play involved, as her mother, what do you feel?
I really can't say exactly what I feel happened, but I do know she didn't do this to herself. I know that much. Her beautiful smile and her mama. It was always mama something. and just her beautiful smile. I have no idea. I was in unattended.
They're talking about the birthday party. Did something upset her? The mother didn't attend. Her brother is so cute. Oh my God. Head full of hair.
It doesn't feel real to not have her to text or to call whenever I want to ask her something. She was one of my closest friends. As my sister, I loved her so much, but it just doesn't feel real to not have her here.
Lord have mercy. This is bad.
Thing is,
Caden. Caden Simpson. 12.
He's so cute. The brother is so cute. They're asking about a visual.
Did proper arrangements, but I'll begin to put it together here shortly.
They're asking about funeral arrangements.
I just hope that everybody can see that what I have stood for 16 days was respect, patience, and being humble to mankind has shown us that we don't have to always be what people want to label you as. You can be more and you can get more done if you are respectful, patient, and humble.
Thank you so much.
We don't have to be what people label us. Interesting. Respectful, patient, and humble. If you need a source for this information, WREG News 3 is the source of that interview with the mother and 12-year-old Caden. He is just the cutest little boy. He has a head full of hair, beautiful hair. He misses his sister. He misses the fact that he cannot call her. He says it's not real that he can't call her and ask her something. So I'm assuming they had a good relationship. She and her 12-year-old brother, 9-year difference. 21-year-old female with 2 children. She is now no longer alive. Children without a mother. I'm assuming this lady will be taking care of those 2 small children. She will be making funeral arrangements shortly. And she also feels that others are accountable who are on the cruise. Why are you all blaming the police and the media? Exactly. The media weren't there. The police weren't there, obviously. So what are the people saying in the street? Because obviously somebody's in this lady's ear or coming to her with gossip and he said, she said, and you know you're not supposed to be doing that when somebody has lost their child and or their child is missing. It's not the time. And she said this is not the time for that. Blaming other people, blaming the law. They did their job for 16 days. And she commends them for helping try to search and find her child. Amen. Let's get down to business, everybody. I will drop the link after I give my commentary. She does not understand why you all are blaming the police. You need to have respect for them because they did their job by trying to find her child. She talks about God a lot. She has faith in God. She believes that without God, she wouldn't have made it through this ordeal. She wants to know, why are you all saying things now that were on the boat? Why didn't you speak up 16 days ago? I'd like to know that too. Why? What are they saying? That's what I like to know. Who is saying what? And who's going to come forward from the boat to speak to the news publicly of what they saw? Because, you know, you're going to look real janky 2 weeks in saying, well, I did notice this and I did hear this. Day late, dollar short, because somebody's dead now. She's not coming back. She's not seeking revenge on anyone who is responsible for the death of her daughter. She's going to let God handle it. Whatever it is that God wants to do with this situation, she's going to let God handle it. And she says, it's not for us to always see and know everything. That's true. Because that's what most of us want. We want to answer. We want to know how, why, who. But like she said, God knows. And maybe it's not for us to know what happened to her daughter. God has given her peace the past 2 weeks. And as she said, and I agree, if you don't know him, it might be good for you to know him. She was not there. So obviously she can't give an opinion pertaining to what actually happened on the boat. No one spoke up. And that we hurt ourselves as African American people. Why isn't anybody taking accountability for what happened to her child? We need to take accountability for what we do. Exactly. Not 14 days later, not 16, 20 days later. Exactly. And that's the gist of the story. Why didn't anybody say anything on the boat? Because as I said, we have 2 different versions. A golf cart driver versus these so-called friends, associates. And that's a problem. Because now you don't know what to think. You got a few snippets of her on the boat, a picture of her on the boat. Some say there's a video of her on the boat. But did she make it off the boat? Because if you only have video and a picture of it at 12 o'clock, as I said yesterday, that's still enough time to go overboard. That's common sense. She can't say what happened, but she knows that her child did not do it to herself. No matter what she was going through, she would not have harmed herself. She loved life too much. You don't have to be what you are labeled, so long as you have patience, respect, and you are humbled. Why were people on the booze cruise after this child went missing from the boat? I'm curious. Because I played you audio of a reporter standing down at the dock. And he said cruise ships were going up and down the water while they were filming. And it was nighttime. Why were you all still putting people on that damn boat after somebody allegedly went missing from your boat? I'm curious. You're that desperate for money. Who is talking about her death from the boat? Which patrons? Did somebody from the boat see something nefarious go on with this young lady and her company and other patrons on the boat? What did they see? What will the manner of death be? Because it is not listed on the coroner's report, just that she drowned. Will somebody be accountable for the death of Tamia Taylor, such as the owners of the riverboat company, Memphis Riverboats? Will they stand account? Will somebody slip up and tell what happened to her on the boat or on land? Will they offer monies to pay for her funeral? That would be the noble thing to do. Will they make upgrades to the boat? Proper railings, higher railings, so nobody can fall over, jump over, push over. The dock area needs appropriate lighting, appropriate path for people to walk up, sturdy stairs. As someone on the panel said, the stairs are not sturdy. It needs a 360-degree overhaul, I believe. Security on the boats. Did they have adequate people walking the boats? If so, how many were on the boat walking and surveying the situation on the boat? Once again, versions of her being on the boat, versions of them not seeing her on the boat when it was time to dock, the friends. Other people saying they saw her and talked to her while walking up the hill to leave the boat. And the golf cart guy saying he did see her with the 3 associates, 2 females and a male. What about the rumors of her getting inside of a car with some men? Who started that rumor? And is there some truth to it? And will we find out that she did get in the car with some men or a man after getting off the boat? And if she did get in a car with a man or men, where did she go? Did she know them? Are they people that are affiliated from the trip? Because I don't know how it's set up to where you could park and jump in a car that fast. So see, all this is murky to me. Suicide. Did Tamia Taylor commit suicide on this river cruise? The mother says no. And will the truth be revealed to what happened to Miss Taylor? You're now listening to the Vault XL. Lord have mercy. What a terrible, terrible situation. So many ways you can leave here. And this is definitely one for the books. This situation here pertaining to this young lady. We hear this all the time of people traveling abroad, going overboard on ships, big cruise ships, which makes no sense, and also dying at resorts. And you have to ask yourself the obvious, is it foul play? Because many people will tell you on the bigger boats, there's no way a person is pushed over the railing, because naturally the railing will be high, and so a person couldn't be pushed over. You would have to be lifted up and thrown into the ocean, number one. Or you climbed over the rail and you jumped off. No in between. These boats, the railings are possibly lower. And I'm sure there's areas where you could slide on off, because there has to be a small space where you could like drop a ladder down in case a person wanted to swim. But I don't think that those boats are used for that purpose, sitting on the water and then letting people jump into the water and swim. But I'm sure there's somewhere on the boat you could just shimmy your way off where there's no railing. What happened to Tamia Taylor? I did an extensive live stream last night pertaining to the who, the where, the what, the why, the how. I asked every question I could think of pertaining to what happened to her on that boat and or off the boat. I've put up several polls on my community page to ask those various questions. Every scenario I could think of. And I thank you for your time by taking the polls. And if you have not, please do so. And feel free to comment below the poll. What is being said now by patrons on the boat? Has anyone gone forward to the police to give a rendition of what they saw and heard on that river cruise? Number one. Has the police gone to other people to talk to them about Miss Taylor and that night? If so, whom? How much footage is circulating pertaining to that night? Any glimpses of her in any type of altercation or row with someone on the boat? And what do the friends have to say now that a ruling of drowning has been rendered, but no manner of death? Are the friends still in contact with the mother? Do they call her? Do they check up on her? Do they visit her? Are they in cahoots with the police? Are they talking to the police? Who's not talking to the police? I'd like to know out of the three. Which one is the shakiest out of the three? And why are two of you not on social media anymore? The two females. From my understanding and what I searched yesterday, you don't have Facebook pages anymore. People in comment sections on some guy's following says you all disbanded your Facebook page. Why? You were afraid of the flack you were getting and the accusations that you harmed this young lady, whether you were friends with her or not. You still got to be able to walk around Jackson, Tennessee. Jackson ain't that big. Because ain't nowhere that big. How about that? You can be found. You can be seen because you've got to come outside your domain to work a job. And I believe one of you females, the chubbier one or whichever, or the smaller one, you have children. I think it's the smaller one, Kanisha. You've got to take care of your children. So your children have to go to school. So you got to come outdoors. You got to pay bills. So how much hiding can you do? So it doesn't really matter about IG, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, all that old nonsense. You got to continue living. Your children got to live. And one thing we have learned with social media is that as soon as people start dismantling Facebook pages, it is assumed a sign of guilt by an outsider. Now, not in every case, in a scenario of a person going missing and or death, that the last people that were around them or person is that perpetrator, but it sure is a good indicator that something ain't right. So I'm going to ask you too, Shanquilla and Kanisha, why did you close your Facebook page? Have you spoken to this lady here and given her a play-by-play of what happened on that boat until it docked? And until you either called her about Tamia missing and or she called you? Which is it? And Mr. Jenkins, did you call this lady to tell her her child was missing? And if you did, What time of day did you call? Because the boat docked allegedly at 1:30 a.m. It is reported that this lady called police at 5 a.m. That's a big stretch of time. So if you all didn't call her and you all didn't call 911, whoops, I forgot to mention that. Why didn't you call 911? Hey, there's something wrong. My friend, she didn't come off the boat. I forgot all about that. See, this is why I tell you, there's so many questions you can ask pertaining to this storyline. The questions are endless. Why didn't you all call 911? Did you say anything to the people on the boat that ran the boat, who were operating the boat? Bingo card. Hey, I need you all to help me find my friend. She went to the bathroom. There's something wrong here. Did you all talk to the staff on the boat that your friend was missing, or did you allegedly search for her yourself? If we are to believe that version of her going to the bathroom before the boat docked. So then we have to ask, if we're to believe that version, what is the time that this young lady went to the restroom on the bottom level? Because that is what you said, Mr. Jenkins. I went down to find her. And if this was an elaborate setup, either before getting on the boat or on the trip, did you see that she was so inebriated you got a hold of her phone without her knowledge or her paying attention? Because they say she was drunk, allegedly. Don't know how true that is. Is this when the big wheels started turning? Ball got into motion to get rid of this young lady on the boat. And you all got access to her phone and made sure to leave it near the bathroom to make somebody think something went awry with Miss Taylor. Because most people are glued to their phones. But when you are drinking, you become careless. That's a known fact. You lose keys, ID, lipstick, all of that if you don't have things secure either in a pocket and or a crossover bag, purse, clutch, so on and so forth. So I'm going to ask, what type of purse did she carry on the cruise? Did she carry things in her jean pocket, jacket pocket, pockets on pants, shorts, whatsoever? Or did she carry a purse, a clutch, a crossover bag? What did she carry? Are all her things gathered properly, except for the phone being away from her person? How much money did she have on her? Did she have a credit card, debit card? Were all those things found with the purse? Because that's something I have not heard mentioned. All I've heard, a phone was left behind. Nothing else. So she went to the bathroom with her purse, I'm assuming. And as I said earlier, how was she found in the water? Where in the water was she found? Close to the bank? The embankment? Was she fully dressed, half dressed, or undressed? Did she have shoes on? See, all that's going to matter. Maybe not to some, but it would matter to me as the mother. And did the mother fully identify her child at the lab? And if she identified her child, did she notice anything strange about her appearance? And I can't even imagine what the state of the body looked like. Because the water can be just as unkind to a human as no different than if a person was left out in the elements. This is a very tricky situation. Because I believe there are people chitter-chattering, and I said this would happen once she was identified. That the people who were with her would probably start giving a different version of what happened, adding some stuff. And usually that's a sign of nefarious business. Because when people start adding things to the story, you have to question why. Oh, that's not what you said when I talked to you the first day. That's not what you said on the third day. That's not what you said to the detective. See what I'm saying? So are these people talking on social media under different accounts? Are they talking to other people in the street and people are coming back repeating what they have said? Are there different versions now circulating pertaining to that night? And the disagreement that was at the birthday party the day before, does it have something to do with what happened to Miss Taylor on this boat or on dry land? See, this is where there's a problem. We don't have a video of her walking down the ramp to get off the boat to say, yep, she made it. We just have a few people saying, yeah, I saw her. Yeah, I talked to her. She was with these 3 people. Then you have to ask yourself, why would the golf cart guy lie? Why would allegedly some other woman say, oh, yeah, I was talking to her. She got off the boat. And let's just say she did come off of the boat. Then that's a big problem. Because that means the 3 people who were in her company are lying. And why would you be lying about your friend not coming off the boat when she made it off the boat and you all are seen allegedly walking with her on Riverside Drive away from the docking area? What are you hiding? One would say that you did something to her deliberately, because why lie? You went with her, you met her, so why lie about leaving with her? See, everything's about timing. Who they spoke to first. The versions they gave. Are all the versions the same? Did they huddle together to tell each other, hey, you say this, you better not tell this? Because there's always going to be somebody that's going to forget. See, that's the thing about lying. Somebody's going to forget what to say. Somebody's going to add something that they weren't supposed to add, because that's life. So I'm going to ask Mr. Jenkins, Kanisha, and Shanquilla, did you all deliberately plan this trip with her or suggest this trip to harm her on the boat, number one? Or did something jump off at that party the day before and you decided to exact revenge against Miss Taylor once you got on the boat? Number 3, you waited till the boat docked and you harmed her on dry land. And how many people are involved if indeed a crime took place on dry land? Or did she be foul play with some other persons once getting off the boat? What happened to Miss Taylor? Was she harmed on the boat by the people she was with? Was she harmed on the boat by somebody else she met on the boat? Was she hid on the boat and then taken off the boat and dumped there at the docking area or somewhere else near the Arkansas line? Or she got off the boat and met foul play with the group she went with? She got off the boat and met foul play with a stranger. She got off the boat and the golf cart guy is involved. Which is it? And who does the mother think is responsible for the death of her child? She will not say what she thinks, but I'd like to know what she thinks happened to her child, because she does not believe her child harmed herself. Thank you for joining me. Very sick situation. Very sick situation. This is another version of the Shanquella Robinson story. A woman goes out of town with some people that she thought were her friends or associates, and she comes back in a body bag. This young lady is on American soil, and she comes up floating 2 weeks later on the Arkansas side of the Mississippi River. You have to admit, they are similar. It's a very, very bad situation. Checking Facebook. There's a young man that talks about crime down there. I just want to see what he has added to his following. Let's see. Somebody says, I know that's a lie. I bet one of her so-called friends did it. Can't trust these frenemies. The author of this page says, damn, y'all, they said no foul play involved. Oh, snap. This person is responding to the author of this Facebook page. Lawsuit at its finest. Again, Coast Guard never was brought in or Fish and Wildlife Search. Common sense point to the river. Shaking my head. They fail, all of them. Somebody says to him, yeah, she was pushed off the boat. Someone replies, she wasn't pushed off the boat. They all got off and made it to dry land. They asked the dude on the cart for a ride, but he had someone already on it. When he came back to see if they still needed a ride, they told him no and put her in a truck and left. So how would you know they put her in a truck and left? You would have had to call somebody to say, hey, come pick us up. And if you didn't call somebody before to walk around from Beale Street to the docking area, why would you now need somebody to pick you up unless you were too inebriated to walk? And I mentioned that yesterday during the live stream. You're talking about 4 inebriated people, if I'm to believe all 4 made it to dry land. You probably be too drunk to walk back to the car where you all parked your car. That's the purpose of this taxi driver. Someone says those gates are so short on the boat, you can fall over if you're intoxicated and not watching your step. This Danielle person says now, that's BS. Somebody else says, so what now? She fell off. Another commenter, I don't even believe that. So she went to the restroom and fell off somehow. But her phone didn't go with her either. Seems like she would have been holding on to it and it would have went with her. Just doesn't seem right. Seems like they are just being extra lazy and don't want to do further investigation on her. Besides, if she had anything in her system besides alcohol, doesn't that take longer to get back? Exactly. It does. Once again, more gossip. I thought the friends were saying they put her in a car with dudes. Then they were saying they was walking with her up a hill or the rocks or something. Now her body is actually in the water after they said they searched the water. So it just showed up. Okay. I think I mentioned that comment yesterday. I think it's interesting that people keep talking about a car and a truck. Who told you they put her in a car? Because I haven't heard anything on the news about them getting in a car. Oh, Lord have mercy. Very interesting. Somebody says they believe she was alive the whole time and just dumped recently. So let's go there. Alive where? That means she had to have been held hostage somewhere and recently dumped on the Arkansas side. So will we hear from the coroner how long they believe she was in the water? Because that will determine if indeed she has been alive all this time and somebody was holding her hostage. But then the coroner says no foul play, so they didn't torture her, allegedly, unless they're lying. Or she was stored somewhere else, died after getting off the boat, but stored somewhere else and then dumped Saturday or late Friday. Very interesting. Will the coroner tell us how long she was in the water? Someone says, I feel she was dumped there. No way a boy stays in that river floating around that long. She should have been found in New Orleans somewhere. This is so sad. My heart breaks for her. New Orleans, good Lord. What is she talking about? Then someone says, I feel the same way, or either she was found on that boat and they didn't want it to affect business and dumped her body. Very interesting. Now, that's a theory I hadn't thought of. But see, then that makes no sense either, because the boat is open. So if she was laying somewhere slumped over, let's just say, hypothetical, she was lying somewhere on the boat slumped over, she still would have been seen by her friends if they allegedly searched for her. That's first and foremost. She would have been seen by other patrons. Somebody, I would assume, would have went and said, hey, there's a lady passed out over there, over here. Because if people were on the boat from top to bottom, at least third level down, all the way around the sides of the boat where you have the railings, the gates, wouldn't somebody say, hey, there's somebody slumped over the rail, there's somebody laying in the floor? Come on now. And I asked that question earlier. Was she hid somewhere in the boat in a compartment where nobody would have known she was in there? And then the friends allegedly went and looked for her, couldn't find her. Everybody exited the boat, and then this person moved her off the boat. But that would have to be somebody considered as staff and had access to the boat and in authority to still hang around to take a body off the boat. Because I would assume whoever is running the boat, manager, whoever, owner, however it works, they would do a search of the boat to make sure everybody was off of the boat. Nobody's still in the bathroom. Nobody's still slumped over in a chair. You see where I'm going. So you have to make it make sense. So is there somewhere on the boat where a body can be stored? Now, a young lady asked a man that the other day on her channel. He said no. But she wasn't a big person. She was 5'7", but she was thin. Naturally, you can ball a human being up, break arms and legs, stuffing them into something. It's been done numerous times. So was she hurt on the boat, passed out on the boat, overdosed on the boat, and stuffed in something, a closet, by a staff member? Everybody exited the boat, and then once everybody was gone, the person took her off the boat in some means or ways and dumped her on the Arkansas side. What is the truth? Very interesting. Okay. This one girl comment about them bringing her body back don't make no sense to me. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Somebody says whoever they put her in the car with. See, this is what makes no sense about that comment. Why would you be putting her in the car with somebody when she drove and Mr. Jenkins, I'm assuming you rode with her up there to Beale Street? So where are people getting these rumors from that she was put in the car by these people? Because why would you continue to walk inebriated but put her in a car? She still would have to drive her car home. She doesn't live in Memphis. She lives outside of Memphis. Stay woke, everybody. Make it make sense. This is why I try not to focus on rumors, because you got to have a receipt. You're all drunk, but you're going to put her in the car with some strangers. For what reason? And where did they put her in a car with some strangers? I want to know where these rumors are deriving from. Because this is why I told you, there's always going to be somebody that's going to talk and tell something. And they're going to tell something that, one, they didn't tell the news. Two, they didn't tell the detectives. So now you got to ask yourself, if these rumors are true and they came out of the mouth of one of these heathens, did you tell the detectives you put her in a car? And number two, did you tell her mother that? I'm curious. Because these rumors are coming from somewhere, and it doesn't mean that they're true, of course. Somebody says, yep, this is so sad. They just dumped her body because they want us to believe she fell in the water the whole time. But my opinion is that killed her and dumped her body out there. Just sad. I hate this for her kids and family. They need to pick up the two girls and boy because they know something. Now somebody says, I think they should look closely into the people she was with because they started out lying, saying she never got on the boat. And then they said they walked her to some dude's truck. SHIT doesn't add up. Well, you forgot about the part about him looking for her in the bathroom. Another guy says, I really believe to my heart she was placed there. Interesting. Somebody else agrees. I said the same thing. Somebody else says literally. This is bad. And then somebody's responding, well, the golf cart guy saw them after the boat ride and on Beale Street because he said they turned the ride down. I want to see the toxicology report. She couldn't have been in the water that long. Remember, they held a search party the next day. This is sickening. A proper investigation was not done from the start. That's a very good comment. Let's talk about that. Toxicology report. What's in it? Marijuana, roofies, heroin, cocaine, meth, or just she smoked marijuana and drank? Was she drugged while on the boat? Was she drugged while out before getting to the boat? Did she make it off the boat and got drugged? Was her body placed on the Arkansas side? Did these people put her in a car or truck with some other dudes? Where is that rumor coming from? And exactly, if her body was placed out there, when was it placed? Saturday morning, Friday night. So that means she would have to been stored somewhere if her body was recently placed Saturday. Stay woke now. And I'd like to hear, yes, how long was she in the water? A medical official should be able to tell us stomach contents. Did she have anything in her stomach? Any drugs taken, induced? And how long was she in the water? Because see, that's going to determine if she was recently placed on the Arkansas side. That Saturday or that Friday or before, but more recent than 2 weeks. Because here, this person is talking about a search party. So yes, did somebody go all the way down to the Arkansas side on President's Island where she was found 2 weeks ago and did not see her body? But that doesn't mean her body still couldn't have floated up when it did, because that's a matter of nature, how long the body's going to stay underwater and float back up after being immersed into the water. So that's what we need to hear. Toxicology report, how long her body was in the water. That will determine if she floated up from the boat on the cruise or she was placed there recently. Hello, Joy. Thank you for joining me. And manner of death is also important because that is undetermined at the moment. Cause of death is drowning. She was in the water, but it doesn't say pushed, jumped, or fell because nobody can say. Just water's in the lungs. But manner of death is naturally hurt, harmed, beat up, strangled. Was the body in too bad of shape to determine manner of death? That's another question. But she was in the water a long time. 2 weeks is that's a long time for a body. Man, that's some strange stuff going on. All of them people on that boat. I know someone seen something. Rest in peace, Tamia. Exactly. And that's where there is another problem. The bigger problem. Are there some people now speaking about what they saw on the boat with this young lady and the patrons and the people she was with? If so, why are you just now talking? And will you go to the police and give a rendition of what you allegedly saw and heard? Did anybody witness nefarious dealings of her on the boat with other people? If not, what happened? And like I said, if you're now talking, why are you just now talking? But this is the problem with us as people. We hate to say anything. We hate to get involved. But imagine that was you out there on that boat. You're on a boat with some people. There's something going down. There's some words. There's some snide remarks. There's some ill will. And you don't feel safe on the boat. Was she trying to walk away from the people? Get away from an altercation, some arguing. She got hemmed up in a corner. That's why I said there's a part of that boat that's near some windows on the ground level where the railings are. They could have easily hemmed her up in a corner and pushed her over. But that means that whole side of the walkway on the ground level had to have been free and clear of patrons. Because if you're right there on that walkway and somebody gets pushed overboard, I would think somebody right there on that walkway would hear it and or see it, even with the music playing. So bad. Now here's somebody else blaming the city. The city and her friends failed her. This is heartbreaking. I was definitely praying for this not to be her people. Be her. People are so evil and wicked. Give this family the answer they need and lock them up. So, once again, as the mother is saying, why are you all blaming the police? The police didn't kill her, push her over. They did go out and search the boat. They took canines out. They also had some other type of rescue boats on the water. So don't act like they didn't do anything. You act like they did nothing. They also had some officer, sheriff check her home, which was a week later, which I thought was kind of strange. To me, all that should have been done day one when she went missing, when the mother put in the missing persons report. The sheriff of that town should have went directly over to her house. Her mother, somebody should have let him in, landlord. They should have surveyed the area outside, went inside the house, checked everything. They also, Memphis police should have checked the dock, all the boats, timesheets, logins, all of that. Then they should have had rescue boats go up and down the Mississippi. So now we have to ask that question. How far down the water did the search boats go after she was reported missing? Because if she was dumped on land, you would have seen her body in the area where she was dumped. Because you'd have to get in the middle of the water that far down in Arkansas if you dumped her on land for her to stay under the water. But if you dumped her right close to the embankment, she probably would not have went down. I don't know. I'm not an expert. But yes, let's not blame the Memphis police because you all are acting like they didn't do anything, like they didn't even search the area in the boats. And they did bring out the canines. They didn't even have to bring out the canines, but they did because that's the right thing to do when somebody goes missing, is to bring out the canines. That's why I said, what did the canines hit on? Did they hit on the bathroom to show that, yes, she went to the bathroom? Did they hit on any area, particularly where she sat or stood? Did they take her scent, pick up her scent coming off the boat or still on the boat? See, all that matters. Also, did the canine pick up her scent going up that hill? That will show that she actually walked off the boat. Bingo card. Will we hear that the canine's scent stopped on the boat? Number one. Scent comes off of the boat down the ramp. Scent goes up the hill to where the street is. That's what I'm sure many of us would like to hear, because all of that matters, because then that will help us understand the versions between the friends and the golf cart guy, because we have two versions out here. They say they don't believe she left the boat. He says, I saw her off the boat. So if you could tell us what the canine picked up on, then we'll know if the canine picked up her scent exiting off the boat or her scent stopped on the boat. Sherry says, I feel like the friends did it, since the employee who seen her walking with her friends near the water were the last to be seen with her. She made it off the boat. That's why no other person on the riverboat seen her go overboard. I feel like the eyewitness was right when he said she was seen walking with them, and he asked them if they needed a ride and said no. And he said Tamia looked off balance or something. I feel like it was after they got from around that area, they did something to her, probably beat her and put her body in the river. It's very secluded around there. I also watched Tamia's neighbor give a statement to the news. He said that there was a disturbance at her party that was at her home, and she was upset about something, but didn't go into details with him. Her neighbor was talking to her about her being upset. This occurred maybe a day before they went on the boat. Justice for Tamia. I literally have chills right now, says another person. This is so sad. Yes, this is a very scary story. Because that's the thing about going on trips and going anywhere, just going outside your house. You're assuming you're going to make it to the place, and you're assuming you're going to make it back. But this young lady didn't make it home. A lot of comments on these pages. As someone is saying, you can't trust nobody. Be aware of your surroundings, close and far. Yes, you have to be aware. The death is not considered suspicious, officials said. Went missing 2 weeks ago after she was last seen on the riverboat with friends. Family members said Taylor went on a ride to celebrate her birthday. Officials said that Taylor's body was found on the Arkansas side of the Mississippi River Saturday, September 23rd, 2023. September 10th, Memphis police issued a city for Taylor after she came to Memphis to meet with friends and get on the riverboat. I don't know what they're saying. Somebody posted that. Somebody saying, yeah, they saying no foul play because they don't want to do their job and find out what really happened. If they were working hard looking for her, why she just show up in the river all of a sudden? Had they searched that river from where it docked down towards that way in the first place, they would have found her already, but they didn't do the wide search. And plus, if she had been there, I know someone would saw her away before Saturday in that river. Until they release, if they do the cause of death, I will always say it was foul play. Bad English, anyway. So a few people are blaming the police. Don't feel like they did their due diligence by this young lady. So I'm going to ask the Memphis Police Department, how far down the river did you search? Because that would make sense that you would go several miles down the river. Because that's just using deduction. Allegedly, she was on the boat. If they decide they want to go by at that time what the friends say, then I naturally say, come on, we need the rescue squad to ride down several miles down the river. And then you just ride the river down. And you look on both sides, ride it on one side, on the right-hand side going down. Then you come back up, you ride the other side. But that's the whole point about falling in the water. You don't really know if indeed where in the water she was dumped, if she was pushed off during the cruise. So it will take a little while for her body to float up. I'm not an expert in body floating to say when a body should float up. See, that's what you got to remember. And as someone said, the water is very murky, has sinkholes. Maybe she was suppressed in the water for some time and then floated up. But see, we don't know. What we need to hear is how long the coroner believes she was in the water. That's what's going to determine if she fell off that boat during the cruise or made it to dry land and then dumped somewhere in the Mississippi River. I wonder if any of her other belongings were found. Yes, I've asked that as well. Did she have a purse on her, crossover bag, or did she have things stuffed in pockets? Because a lot of young ladies do not carry purses. Some like to put things in their pockets, which I'm not that type of lady. I never have been. I always carried a purse. I carry a clutch bag even when I go out on the weekends. Because I don't need to carry a big old purse. I don't carry a big purse anyway. Because I don't have enough stuff to carry, and I don't want to carry a big old purse. I like purses. I've seen very nice handbags, very big, pretty bags, but I personally don't have anything to put in them. So it'd be a waste of money me spending money on a big old satchel to put nothing in it. So that's another question, as I've asked before. What was found with the victim? Was a purse still attached to her? Possibly not. Anything in her pockets, still lodged in her pockets? Bosom, bra, private parts. You know, sometimes people stuff things in their pants. How was she dressed when they retrieved her body from the water? Hairstyle? Shoes on, shoes off? Was her car still in the same place where she originally parked with that Mr. Jenkins guy? Was the car moved? How much money did she have on her? How much money did she spend on the trip? Did they serve alcohol by the cup, bottle, wine bottles? What? What did she buy on the boat? So you have to ask all those questions because all that's irrelevant. Blood alcohol content. Were they able to get that from the decedent? Any type of drugs in her system? What was found? Toxicology report. Sometimes that takes some months to get, depending on how backed up the lab is. Did she take any narcotics while on the boat? Was she given any, or was she roofied while on the boat by the company she was with or strangers? Thousands of questions you can ask. And why didn't anybody see this young lady go overboard? However, she went overboard. The capacity of the boat, standing room only, or size of the boat where there was nobody standing to where you could have pushed somebody over, fell over, or jumped without anybody seeing. And if somebody saw Miss Taylor jump, pushed, or fell off of this boat, why in God's name would you not have reported it to the captain? Are these rumors true that her company put her in a vehicle with somebody? And if so, where? Off dry land. Did she make it to dry land? Controversy over golf cart guy version versus friends. Phone left behind. Where exactly on the boat? In the bathroom, near the bathroom, on a table, top level, second level, what? First level? Because there's different versions about the phone. Left behind on the table, then it's found near the bathroom. Was that a setup to make it look like something happened to her on the boat? Is that what they were hoping? They would think that people would think she was pushed over. So they concocted a ruse to get rid of her on the boat, get a hold of her phone, make officials think something happened to her on the boat by another patron, but all along exit the boat and do something to her. Or they did something to her on that boat, but made sure to leave her phone behind. What is the truth? Prayers to the family. Prayers to the Caden. Cutest little boy I've ever seen. He misses his sister, as he should. The mother is very humbled and mild-mannered. And as she said, I would have been broke down had it not been for God. And she did pass out when they gave her the news that it was her body that was found in the water. And she feels like nobody needs to be blaming the police, Memphis police, because they did a good job in her eye in helping search for her daughter. And in the end, the police weren't there. If they had never searched the water or brought out boats or checked the boats, then I could say, okay, they didn't do their job. But I don't know of anything that's so terrible that the police did not do. It would only be a problem if they didn't search for her immediately after the mother put in the missing persons report. Then I would have a problem with the department. Now, if they waited a couple of days, then yeah, I'd say, okay, that doesn't look good. Why are you waiting days to search for somebody? Especially if they fell in the water or was pushed in the water. That wouldn't make any sense. And then you have to use deduction. Most people wouldn't survive falling in the water in a murky river in the first place. Whether you could swim or not. Because when you fall into water, 9 times out of 10, you weren't expecting to fall in or be pushed in. And then you're inebriated and under the influence of drugs. So your defenses are down. And then you, as someone said on the panel, you panic naturally. Anybody with sense knows you're dead weight when you are drunk and you fall in the water. You're dead weight. It's very terrible news. I'm praying for a resolution and I'm praying for the truth to be revealed. I do not know about these rumors circulating about her getting in a car with anybody on dry land. I do not know if the child made it off the boat or not. These are allegations from a golf cart driver. I don't see why he would be lying unless he was paid to lie by the riverboat company. I've tried to assess every hypothetical situation I could pertaining to this girl's death. The coroner rules it drowning, but manner of death undetermined. So that's still sketchy. Because as I said, her body could have been in such a bad, in a poor shape, you couldn't determine manner of death. But you can tell if a person, I would assume, has been shot or stabbed. Those marks seem like you can still see even with a body being in water after 2 weeks. Because remains have been found 10, 15 years later, and they check the bones, and you can see where a person had either a broken arm, leg, stab marks, strangulation, beat in the head, shot in the head. And that's just with skeletal remains. And is this a ruse to say no foul play suspected because it's still an ongoing investigation and detectives believe otherwise, but they don't want to tell the public they believe she was harmed on or off the boat. If you'd like to donate to this network, $BigAngie129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for your time. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. Mind the children and mind your surroundings. And know that you are not exempt from being a victim of crime. Please be very aware of the company you keep and the places that you venture. If you do not feel safe in someone's car or home, do your best to try to get out of that situation immediately. Do not venture off into unknown territories, streets, alleyways, because you don't know people. Yes, she is amazing. The very reason why many people don't return home is because they don't use their gut instinct. And then sometimes they think something is awry and they still tread forward anyway, as not to be deemed a party pooper or just afraid to say, I don't feel comfortable. But there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to go here. I don't want to get in that car. I want out of this car. I want out of this house, apartment. You have every right. But sometimes it's best you don't say anything. Just make your way out. Because usually that's when the dirty business starts once a person speaks up. Now they're being held against their will. Please be aware of your surroundings when you're out. And if you do not know people well, don't go anywhere with them. Don't meet them anywhere. Don't ride in their car and don't give them a ride anywhere. Tell them, I'll meet you at the restaurant, the picture show, but don't go to any houses. Don't go to any lakes. Don't go to any riverfronts. Don't do that. Because what can seem like friendly conversation or friendly invite to a function can go terribly wrong if the invite had ill will. And you're not going to know until you're in the thick of it. And you may not be able to make your way out. Thank you for joining me. You've been listening to the Vault XL.